All right, Coach Webb. First conference road weekend of the year. You guys come away with a split. What were your thoughts on how you guys performed?
I'm not unhappy with the split. I mean, you play two of what we thought going in, two of the top three teams in the conference, certainly two of the top four teams in conference, and go 1-1. That's not a bad result for us right now. Miami, we were good for about half an hour, and then I think the difference in experience and maturity showed in that they were able to maintain mental focus for another hour, and I think, kind of withered under the pressure a little bit. And so that was a tough loss. We definitely, there are many things we wish we would have done differently that night, but you give credit to Miami. Sometimes when teams play really well, then you come away with a lot of wishes and a lot of hoping, and maybe not the win that you would like. So that was a tough loss, but then to come back the next day playing Bowling Green, who they were very, very good in non-conference. They were, I think, about an 80-ish RPI team coming in, and they had, I guess, a pretty significant challenge to start conference, and they started with Miami and NIU, which are right now the two best teams in the conference, and then playing us third. We knew it would be, I guess the way I packaged it to the team was, there are two teams that probably have some questions right now, in that we were a team that struggled non-conference, had a bunch of different things going on, injuries and illness and different lineups and all different things going on, but then we were coming in. We won the first weekend. We had just lost to Miami, so we're a little down. But they're coming off this great non-conference, but then they haven't won in conference. So some of those kids are probably wondering, are we as good as we think we are? And they went in and they were good. I mean, they were as good as advertised. We were really good in the first set. I think we were pretty good throughout the entire day. The first set we won by a larger margin. It was a very interesting match in that the first two sets we defended well, and in the third set, it was just an offensive explosion for both teams. I mean, both teams hit, I believe, 440 or 450 and above, and that's pretty unusual, obviously. And so it was a very good win. I was really impressed with the way that we won it. You take a few weeks ago, we're talking about, man, we've had 3 weekends in a row that we had a set that we were up 24-21, 24-20, and then one was 24-19, and we didn't close. And then in this match, we were behind several times. We came back and we won the second set and the third set, both 28-26. And I think that showed a great deal of poise by our team, and I was very proud of them for doing that.
Without revealing too much of your hand, what did you learn from the loss to Miami that maybe you can kind of use when you match up with them again down the road, and maybe even in the tournament if it comes to that?
Well, there were a few, I think, specific technical things that we know we need to improve. I really think our decision-making while attacking was not good. And we had many times we had a pass, we had a set that would have allowed us to score, and then we did not make the right decision as an attacker. As far as attacking, obviously going around the block is part of that, but also just where to attack in the court. And there were many times we just weren't hitting where we had practiced, where we had planned. I think that's part of it. The other part is just the mental side. It's just about being able to focus for a long period of time. Can you focus at the hour and a half mark? Can you focus at the hour and 50-minute mark, maybe when you're starting the fifth set? And we haven't had a lot of matches that have been very long. We've won a number of 3-set matches. Unfortunately, we've lost a few 3-set matches. I'm trying to think. We've only had 2 5-set matches. I believe we're 1-1 in those, and really, I don't know how many, but not very many 4-set matches. And that's, you don't expect to have a lot of 5-set matches, but you do expect to have a lot of 4-set matches. And so I think this year we haven't had as many of those experiences as we would like, and so we have to do a better job simulating that in practice, that prolonged focus. What do we look like at the hour and a half mark? And then how can we finish from there? Because I think if I were to just, what was the difference in the two teams, I think they were able to focus longer.
Then moving on to Bowling Green, what does it say about your team to kind of flush that tough Miami loss right away and bounce back and kind of battle out a 3-set win against Bowling Green?
I think it's one of those sayings that's probably cliche, but about tomorrow's a new day, and all these things, and a phrase that we use that is certainly not unique to us, but it's just you have until midnight, and that's after a bad loss, that's after a great win. You have until midnight, and then tomorrow I get up and ready to work. And we talk about it all the time, and it's in some ways it's really good when you get a chance to get out there and play right away. You don't have to wait an entire week after a loss to play again. So I'm glad we got that opportunity, and that's how we try to look at it. It really was an opportunity to get back out there and improve. I don't know if I can answer any exact reason other than our kids they were willing to let it go. And I think you have to be willing to let go of something that you're not happy with, willing that if you didn't perform well individually, that you're willing to let go of that so that tomorrow you can be better. Because if you hang on to, man, you're getting ready to warm up for the Saturday game and you're still thinking, man, I was really bad yesterday, I hope I'm not that bad today, you're probably going to be that bad today. And so I think we talk about it and we just help our kids as much as we can, but it's up to them to make that decision. And it was certainly done because we had practice that day. Practice Saturday was really good before the game. And obviously as coaches, you're hoping that you continue that and that feeling that you have in practice. And on Saturday, we definitely did.
Can you talk a little bit about Mallory? And she's made the transition back to the outside, had a double-double against Bowling Green. Is she finally kind of starting to come along a little bit with her attacking? I
think so. Miami, she didn't have good numbers, but it looked good. It looked a lot more comfortable. There were times, I think we overset our back row a little bit in that match, so the numbers are going to come down a little bit. But it's getting more comfortable, and it takes time. We know she's a dynamic hitter. As we've said before, she's adjusting to a new setter this year, and so that's just a little different pace of the ball. We're trying to get a little faster. We're not there yet. Mal would definitely prefer the ball be faster than what it is currently, but it takes time. You don't have a first-year setter that just immediately gets the tempo, and she's working towards that. But I think Mal is getting used to being a good hitter versus a slightly slower ball, and then as we're able to speed up the offense as the season goes on, then she should be able to become a great hitter again. But she was certainly good against Bowling Green hitting, and she's always good on defense, always good in serve receive. So it's good to see her just be a little more comfortable. Then the other side of that, in vacating the libero role, I think Erica settled in really well this weekend. She was really good. I think it was just Miami, both Brooke and Erica were really, really good. And then on Saturday, they were really good again. So I think as we have these different pieces that we've been moving around a lot later in the year than we normally would like to, you got to keep moving them until you find people really settle in. And I really think that Brooke is playing at an exceptionally high level in Zone 1. And I think Erica is starting to settle into what we know she can be as a libero in Zone 5.
Speaking to moving the pieces around, how do you think players like Mallory, Brooke, specifically as veterans, have kind of handled just kind of everything kind of being in flux a little bit until you find that perfect combination?
I think this year they really understand that it is all about going through conference and peaking for the conference tournament. And we've talked about it since day one. We knew before this year started. We knew whenever we put the schedule together, this year was not going to be about RPI. This was not going to be an RPI in the 30s, and let's hope we get an at-large kind of a year. This is a year, a bunch of new starters, a bunch of young kids that have to learn, let's be good in November. And those two kids as seniors have preached that since day one. And so I think because they've been saying it so long, and they're bought in, and they're absolutely great leaders for our team, and they're just not panicking. They're just calm. When we change things, now we're going to try this. Now we're going to try this, and they just roll with it. And it's one of I think with this many changes, I think in some ways they're the right type of leader. Everybody leads in different ways. And I don't know if this year, with as many changes as we've had, if we had a really just hard, firm, in-your-face leader every day amidst all the changes, I don't know if that would have been good, because there's already stress when you make change. And then you have stress externally from another person motivating you in a way that maybe they're not ready for. I think this year, calm but demanding leaders are probably exactly what we need, and so I think they've handled it really well.
Can you preview Kent State and Eastern Michigan for us a little bit?
Well, because we play them not on back-to-back days, we play Thursday and Saturday this week, we're not focused on Eastern Michigan at all. We have one coach that's assigned to do the scout for them. But on weeks that we play Thursday, when it's a short week of preparation, we only focus on our first opponent. And so right now, it's all about Kent State. They've graduated a couple of kids that were good pieces for them, but they have some pieces that are really, really good. Obviously, they have an 0-1 Bittinger that is really, really good. I think one of the more dynamic outside hitters in our conference. And then Norberg in the middle, who's historically been great against us. And we certainly are aware of that. We know we're going to have to play at a very high level. They've had an interesting year, and I don't know the story. There's always a story. We know our story. We don't know theirs. But they've had some success early, and they had some kind of surprising losses to some kind of lower level teams. But you just don't know what exact level they're going to be playing. But I know that Kent State game is always a good game. And we have, since before I got here, there have been a number of really, really big matches against them. And that was last year. That was the case last year as well. I mean, we lost. In fact, I'm sure I'm not forgetting one here, but I think the only regular season home loss that we've had in the last 2 years was to Kent State last year at home in 4. And so we know Kent's very good, and we know Kent is good enough to beat us, and we know that we need to play really well on Thursday night.
Jake, you got anything? I just find it always fun to watch Jamie and Kelsey. Sorry, I didn't know about this. Sorry.
New system.
Yeah, new system here.
It's high tech.
This upcoming Thursday, I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching Jamie and Kelsey. Probably, they've always gone head to head too with that. And do you think Jamie is? I mean, how should I word this here? Do you think Jamie will I mean, not mentally, of course she'll be mentally ready, but I mean, it's just that the contest between those two, it's always interesting to watch.
Yeah, I think they've had an interesting couple of years, and I think they've known each other since farther back than college. I mean, they same age, playing in state and high school, and so they've competed against each other for a long time. And I would guess that as a freshman, Jamie was better than Kelsey. I think last year Kelsey was better than Jamie, and I've told Jamie that. and I just think she had a great year last year, and so it's going to be interesting this year. Jamie's obviously made some pretty big strides from last year to this year, and just to see how that plays out. Jamie loves competing, and not just competing in the team and the whole holistic view of it, but she loves competing against a person, and she really enjoys that. I've not seen her be a person where that's been a negative. Some people can get too caught up in it's me versus you, and they lose kind of the team concept. She does it inside of the team concept, but she really enjoys that. And so I'm looking forward to Thursday seeing those two kids go at it, because they're probably pretty even this year. I don't know if I would really. It'd be hard to say which one has really had a better year up until now. They're a little, different as far as style in some ways, but they're pretty similar in a lot of ways too. I mean, they really like to go up and hit the ball with pace. They have some shots, but they'd rather not use them. They'd rather bang the ball. As far as like all-around play, I think they're both decent all-around players, but I think they're both known for their ball striking, and so it should be a good matchup watching those two.
And then with Kent State's libero, Challen Garrity, how do you plan on hitting around her this Thursday?
Well, part of that is just the maturity of our hitters, and I think we're talking about Jamie. I think Jamie, early in her career, when Jamie's shot decisions were hit the ball hard or hit the ball harder, and it was either hit cross or hit slightly more cross, it played exactly into kind of Challen's area, into her zone of defense. And so there were times that Jamie would try to beat her just with more pace. I mean, she's an outstanding libero, and you're just not going to beat her with more pace. You have to move her around. You have to go to different locations. So I'm hoping that a more mature version of our outside hitting group should be able to keep the ball away from her, because if you put the ball anywhere near Challen, it's coming up. I mean, she's outstanding. Maybe there's another libero in the conference that I'm forgetting at the moment, but I can't think of another libero that's even close to Challen, in my opinion. I really thought last year that the torch was kind of passed from Meredith Ashe to Challen, and I think she's the bro in our conference right now. So we have a great deal of respect for her, and we're not going to try to beat her with a lot of balls in her zone. We're going to have to go some other places to score.